So we've reached the final segment of the creative stage, and today's lineup is set to be both inspiring and thought-provoking. We'll hear from visionary leaders across art, design, and technology, and each pushing boundaries in their fields. I'm excited to kick off the session as we explore how creativity and innovation is shaping our world. So let's get started. First, we have Fred Gill, CEO of Tátil Design, who will speak about the importance of intuition and the role of mistakes in fostering creativity. Fred will dive into why, in an age of algorithmic, can't speak because that's how life is. You can't pronounce things when you're supposed to. Anyway, efficiency, we must reclaim natural intelligence to drive innovation and personal growth. Please give a warm welcome to Fred. Make sure y'all say, hey, Fred.
Hey.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in Web Summit, Lisbon. So, there are many lectures here, speeches, in some way talking really well about AIs, for sure. And it makes a lot of sense because AIs are the most amazing, in my opinion, the most revolutionary technology that we have been ever invented as a species. And this is really radical. But I'm here today not just for talk about AI, but to really to honor the natural intelligence. Because I believe that more than everything, we need this kind of essential competencies, really to achieve and to get the big challenge that we have ahead in our perspectives as human beings, in the main perspective. So, I'd like to start asking something for you guys here. Who still has the courage to discuss with Google Maps or Waze, these navigation apps? There is someone here? There is someone there, someone here. So, I was coming back from the weekend with my wife, and she was driving. And in some moment, we hit in a massive traffic jam, and we had two options, the overpass and the underneath. And she asked me what to do. And I say, hold on, I'm going to open Google Maps. But in that moment, the traffic started moving, and she decided to take the lower path. We ran, 50 meters, and we stopped completely. In that moment, the Google Maps loaded, and for sure, obviously, the best way was the second one, is the overpass. In that moment, I really decided not to discuss more with Google Maps. When I was 20 years old and I went to sail, I do windsurf, I really need to have the ability to read the sky, to know about the shape of the clouds. And I remember that I had one palm tree in front of my house, and depending on the movement of this palm tree, I really could know about the intensity of the wind, the direction, and how long it would last. Today, we have Wind Guru. I don't know if you guys know this Wind Guru. It's an amazing website that really gave us the very precise forecast for the next 3 weeks with the tide, with the waves, with the wind and everything else. In fact, we've been using, in the last thousands of years, our senses and our cognition to read the sky, to read the reality in general, to read people. And combined with our imagination and our faith, it's really important, our faith, we created civilizations, we made revolutions, we transformed Earth in spaceships. And I love this metaphor that everything that we do, we extracted raw materials from Earth. The James Webb, that amazing telescope that is photographing objects of 3 billion years of distance, is made with Earth. We have this capacity. We are really incredible, amazing species. And over the past billion of years, and more than 200 million years, we've been developing solutions completely connected with our decisions, our capacity to really to take good decisions, to choose one path or another one. And obviously, technology has been increasing a lot the accuracy of our decisions. With X-ray, our diagnostics became better than before. With the compass and astrolabe, we could navigate with much more precision. And it's crazy because the Portuguese went to Brazil without these tools. They had only the capacity to read the sky. It's a very ancestral capacity. But today, we are delegating some of our most important decisions to apps. Google Maps decide our paths. Tinder can decide your soulmate. And this is crazy. But this can be very, very simple for people that really don't have this kind of capacity.
How you doing?
It's a prehistorical talent that we had in the past, but today we're losing this because Google, Tinder help us to find our soulmate. So the fact is, when you imagine all of this technology and what is in risk, we know that our brain and our nature in general are completely obsessed by economy. When you are not using something, this thing atrophied. It's very simple like that. But what is in risk when we think about our intuition? Because I have the perception that we are putting risk this kind of essential and very ancestral competence. We've been discussing a lot about the jobs that we've been losing for AIs, for technology in general. But we're not discussing about some of these main and basic competences, skills that we have as human beings. And I don't know, I think that many coaches understand intuition as an amazing shortcut that can connect us to the sacred. It's something that we really don't know how we know, but we know it. And all of us, we've been using intuition every day in the simple things and important things. I'm not taking that plane. I don't know, I'm gonna call for someone. It's something natural for us. Because my point is, again, when you really not use something, the energy goes for other side. Remember, we had this capacity to memorize a lot of phone numbers, all of us. We lost this capacity because we delegated, we outsourcing for our mobiles. Today, the only number that I know with my heart is this one, 22561544. I don't need to read because it's the phone number of my grandmother's house. I don't know you guys, but we lost this capacity. But here, we are talking about something really tactic. I don't know how to memorize. My wife is always fighting with me because I really don't know her phone number. But this is not serious. This is something really tactic. But to lose the capacity to intuit something, our intuition and our imagination is much more serious than this. So, until now, all of this speculation that I brought to you guys until now was just my intuition working. But in this moment, when I was preparing this presentation, I decided to go deep and try to understand more about intuition. And I found this guy, is Daniel Kahneman. He's very famous. He won a Nobel Prize in 2002. He defined the behavioral economics. He's an economist and psychologist from Israel. And the first lines that I read is, intuition leads us to mistakes. Some of the historical mistakes are consequence of our intuition. In that moment, I said, oh, everything that I was thinking that could be good to cultivate intuition was a mistake. But a second after, I thought, how important are the mistakes? How many things we learned failing? And this is really important for our evolution. And I realized that we live today in a dictatorship of perfection, of productivity. And all the time we are reducing the space for experimentations, space for mistakes. And and I still thinking about the importance of mistakes. When you look at the innovation territory, we didn't have vulcanized rubber in your car tires without an accident, without a mistake. We wouldn't have beer to drink tonight after this event without a mistake. We wouldn't have popcorn to eat watching films. Wouldn't have Viagra that, by the way, produced the second sexual revolution. We wouldn't have Ozempic that made Nordisk to reach a market value that exceeds the Denmark GPD, more than $500 billion, pure accident. We wouldn't have Post-its. And this is my point. How much our mistakes value for us. This is really important. And when you use our free will, it's a kind of capacity that this part of our natural, our essence. We are really improving, activating a very important principle that nature used to create resilience for ecosystems, which is decentralization. Nature hates the idea to have the power in just some individuals or some species. And this is part of the strategy to guarantee resilience for ecosystems, especially complex ecosystems like ours. Imagine, for example, you are driving in a freeway, and in some way, you have a confidence that the guy next to you, you're not crash his car in your car. This is result of this idea to spread responsibility. And until 1940, when the atomic bomb was invented, didn't have any individual or company or country with the power to make decisions, to take decisions that could generate an impact in the entire world. Until now. This is a slide of M-Web presentation in South by Southwest this year, when she showed us the owners of our decisions. These guys, they are the owners of the social medias, the apps, and now the artificial intelligence that influences a lot our decisions. Every day, every day. This is something that nature really don't like, this kind of concentration of power. But it's our reality right now. I don't know if you saw this film, if you watched this film, it's The World After Us. Sorry about the spoiler if for someone that didn't watch it yet. It's amazing. This scene especially impressed me a lot. Actually,
Down, maybe they know something.
No one in that
it's
car.
a school, suicidal school of autonomous Teslas without drivers, with some app, with some algorithm. How can I say this in English? Mandando all of them for the same place to block a road. And this is really dangerous. Imagine someone with the power, different of the example that I show in the freeway, where everyone has own responsibility, but someone that could really move millions of cars just with a button, for example. So, when you think about the perspective of mistakes, the accidents, and the intuition in the business universe, the innovation universe, the ROI, the return of investments, the average of the return of investments of the mistakes are really high. I don't have any doubt about that. But when you think about biology, and I love biomimicry, I've been studying biomimicry in the last 35 years, and I've been teaching biomimicry in Brazil in the last 20 years. In nature, in the evolution process, the mistakes are the engine of evolution. When you look at, for example, the Darwin theory of evolution of species through the natural selection, everything that happened since the first cell, Archaea is the name of the first cell, I love this name, Archaea, until today, everything that happened was a big chain of mistakes, accidents, mutations, 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 mutations. In this perspective, we are pure accident. I love to imagine that one day, like a lucky day for us as a species, the DNA of this cousin gorilla was being copied. And for some reason, a small mistake happened. And this mistake created the most sophisticated tissue that nature has ever invented, our prefrontal cortex. That, by the way, is the equipment that allows us to imagine. And imagination is the second essential competence that we've been delegating, outsourcing for technology with generative artificial intelligence. It's part of our daily. All of us, we've been using GPT and Journey and DALL-E and all of them. I used to. I'm not speaking badly about AIs. I've been using a lot. My point here is just who is going to be in the control of this situation. And this is a nest from 100,000 years ago. And this one is the nest today. It's really the same. This is a house from 100,000 years ago. Our cousins at that time used to live in this kind of place. And today, we live in this kind of place. This is Burj Khalifa. Actually, only the sheikhs in Dubai can live in this place. But we, in just 100,000 years, we had the capacity to invent, to imagine all of this crazy stuff. We are very bold species. We really have this opening program, different of the sharks, for example, that they are here for the last 400 million years doing the same thing. The turtles, the last 200 million years doing the same. And we have this capacity to do this kind of stuff. Over 100 years ago, Jules Verne could imagine that you could go to the moon, and we did it. He imagined too that we could explore the deep oceans with Nautilus, and we did it. Hanna-Barbera imagined that you could use flying cars. And actually, we developed the branding of this flying car from Embraer. It exists. It's real now. The power of our imagination. When you think about the science fiction, everything that you have in science fiction today is dystopic, completely dystopic. We don't have anything that could inspire ourselves to better and desirable futures. This is just a point here. But when the subject is imagination, the Brazilians are the guys. Look at this. This guy imagined that he could manage a barbecue in a clothes iron. And this other one imagined that he could create a swimming pool that could move. Imagining to be that children in a swimming pool in movement. Imagine the waves inside. I would like to try this swimming pool. And just a parenthesis, I believe that Brazilian creativity is something to be exported. I think that to have this capacity to do more with less, this flexibility, the passion that really represents something that the world needs. So, but my point here is every day we have another tool that was designed to imaginate for us. We invented the invention machine. And how serious can be this? It's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm gonna share a personal experience with you guys. I received an amazing briefing of a client of us, Natura, to design a perfume bottle inspired in a flower. In that same week, I was completely enchanted by this generative artificial intelligence is Crea.ai. Crea.ai. It's amazing because you really don't need to write a complex prompt. You just can doodle in the left side or move some elements, and in the right side, in the real time, the renderings gonna appear and one after the other. And I was there trying to find my perfume bottle. I spent more than 4 hours trying, almost getting there, but I've never getting there. It was something crazy. I started to feel anxious in some way. And in some moment, I felt like these guys, the old guys in a casino, in the slot machines, trying just one more. And how much close I could get, more I insist in that strategy, using that tool. In that moment, I thought, come on guys, I am an old monkey with 35 years old of experience in biomimicry, in design thinking, design feeling, and I'm here completely addicted by this tool. And I started to imagine, as I've been teaching and having contact with young guys, I imagine a guy today with 16 years old or 17 years old going to college, study design, for example, and when they didn't have opportunity to exercise in some way his analogical imagination, something that we had this capacity. And even having this capacity, this opportunity, I was there completely addicted by this tool. So after that, I went to Botanic Garden, close of my house, to grab a flower, to have the main source of inspiration, especially for that briefing. And after that, everything happened. And I used Crea after this moment to refine, to make new trials. But the main idea comes from my heart, comes from this connection directly with my source of inspiration. In this case, a flower. In the other case, we really must go there, because it's a shortcut to be there just making small prompts and trying to find the solutions instantaneously. And in that moment, I asked Dali to create some image that could represent this process that we've been living, outsourcing our imagination and our intuition to technology. And Dali created this kind of image. What do you think about that? It's ugly, but it's good. It's good, but it's ugly. I usually call these of creative instant noodles. In Portuguese would be miojo criativo, because we are being flooded by this kind of image, this kind of text that comes from GPT, that comes from Dali, blah, 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 blah. And we are reducing the quality of the creative space, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. And these are beautiful images created by artificial intelligence with a friend of mine. He's a photographer. He really knows about lens. He has 20 years of experience photographing, and he could really prepare and use this tool in the right way. This is not a miojo criativo. This is really good. And I believe that this is a good example of the balance between technology and the humans when you think about creativity. So new technologies have always caused disruption. The medieval copyist monks lost their jobs when Gutenberg invented the press printer. The assembly lines workers lost their jobs when the robots was introduced. But now we are talking about something different. This technology goes directly to the heart of our essential competence of human beings. A 3 years old child with this screen in her hand, with a machine that can imagine for her, probably will generate some consequence that we really don't know which going to be. I think that this is very serious. I really love to have adults today, like my children are really adults today. Can I say this in English? But my friends that have teenagers or child, they have a big challenge in their hands. How to manage this? A machine to imagine. So I was in South by Southwest this year, and I watched many lectures about technology, about artificial intelligence, but the main stage for me, the best experience that I had, the place where I learned more than anywhere, was in the lines. And this was the beautiful line of 1 hour waiting for the MWeb presentation, because there I really could meet people that I couldn't imagine to meet. For example, a guy that comes from Taiwan that had a profession that I've never heard about it. I met a client of mine that I had just some moments in a corporate meeting room, and there, in this line, we became friends, because we were there together for an hour talking about our children, and it was amazing. I usually call this social intelligence. It's another, everybody is talking about artificial intelligence. This is social intelligence that I believe that's really important, that you must cultivate. How we have been doing around the bonfires in many cultures through the times. That represents an opportunity to exchange experience, to really to have a deep connection with other people. Because I believe that we have ahead of us a huge creative challenge. That means evolution challenge for our species. And more than ever, we need to cultivate our natural intelligence, our sensitivity, our spirituality, to be able to deal with all of this amazing technology around us, to guarantee that this technology really works for you, for us, not the opposite. Because I think that this is the risk. It's very dangerous to imagine that AI can be the holy grail for the future, because AI is still looking in the rearview mirror. So the last slide, we need to move from algorithmic dictatorship to cultivation of imagination. We need to move from culture of perfection to freedom to make mistakes, to excess of screens, to stimulation of imagination, to AI for NI, natural intelligence, that contain all of the other ones, to acceptance of difference, to interest in the different. Because only this way, you're going to move from dystopian future to desirable futures. Thank you so much.